Welcome to Paranormal News with your hosts Nicole Wallace and Shauna Bisbaum, bringing you today's latest and greatest news in death and dying.
Hi, I'm Nicole. And I'm Shauna. Today we have an exciting show for you. Yes, we do, Nicole. Today we'll be talking about technical side of paranormal activity and also ghost hunters. And don't forget about the good versus evil and our eyewitness that's a forensic scientist who will tell us about her experience. And later on in this broadcast, we have hysteria in 60 seconds, and also ghostly forms. So, Shauna, how about the technology for detecting these spooky ghosts? There are many devices that aid in ghost detection. EMFs are commonly used. EMFs stand for electromagnetic fields. They occur naturally in everyday life. Computers, cell phones, and power lines have EMFs. But the sudden spike in an EMF with no electrical explanation can show there to be a presence of a ghost. K2 meter is an EMF that uses flashing lights to attract electromagnetic energy, resulting in a presence of a ghost. Most importantly, ghost hunters use photography to capture ghosts. Taking multiple pictures when EMFs are high increase the chance of getting a ghost form in an actual picture. And now talking about ghost hunters.
On a serious note, ghost hunters are paranormal investigators that investigate unexplained events, paranormal activities, and ghost operations. And they usually use tape recorders, video cameras, and electromagnetic fields. The ghost hunters' mission are to help people who had experienced paranormal activities in place of business or residence, and also to educate the public. In Florida, Doris Smith founded the Daytona Beach Paranormal Research Group, and she claimed that she became interested in ghost hunting when she visited the ghost store in St. Augustine. She founded the Daytona Beach Paranormal Research Group in 1997 and became the nonprofit organization at 2012. Doris Smith had reported 2 locations that had an apparent apparitions, and the second was the hunting in Huguenot Cemetery in St. Augustine. Doris' group was invited by the preservation group to document some of the hunting. And according to Ms. Smith, she said that her group had gotten a full-body apparitions also in the 35mm film. She said that she knew nothing about either of the 2 people. One was reputed to be the Judge Stickney, who was buried originally at the Huguenot Cemetery, and then was moved to Washington, D.C. After someone has desecrated his grave and stole his gold teeth, he was moved back to St. Augustine and was reburied there, but no one really knew what's the exact place.
And now it's time for a segment of paranormal activity and history with Rachel Chambliss.
Hi, my name is Rachel Chambliss, and I'm hosting today's segment of Paranormal Activity and History with today's topic, hysteria in 60 seconds. The modern word hysteria comes from the Greek word hystera, meaning uterus. This referring to disturbances caused by a woman's uterus. But nowadays, it's a word commonly used to describe a state of mind. Dictionary.com. Austrian psychiatrist Sigmund Freud hypothesized that hysteria was symbolic representation of a repressed unconscious event, accompanied by strong emotions that could not adequately be expressed or discharged at the time. So what does that mean? Basically, when people are reduced to hysterics, it is because of some repressed emotion or memory that results in physical symptoms. What does this have to do with paranormal activity? Well, let's start with a bit of history in a place called Lille, France, the year 1639. In an all-girls school, 50 pupils were convinced by their overzealous teacher that they were indeed possessed by the devil. Delusions included seeing little black angels floating about their heads and seeing the devil's imps causing chaos all about the school. All the students then confessed to witchcraft, flying on broomsticks, and even eating baby's flesh. I mean, that's not something I'd want on my report card. After casting the blame on their headmistress, the suspicions were dropped. She barely escaped persecution, of course. Now, speaking of witchcraft, let's give you some familiar history in Salem, Massachusetts, the year 1691 to 1693. In Salem, Massachusetts, 8 girls exhibited strange behavior, including convulsive movements, strange speech, and behavior patterns. They later accused 2 elder women and a maid of witchcraft, and they were only the first ones to be arrested. The total hangings of the accused included 19 people. One man was even crushed to death. Not the kind of town I'd like to live in, to say the least. In conclusion of these two events, my opinion is that the delusions of these poor, afflicted people lay solely in the mind. They could have been prevented with a little bit of therapy, of course. And that's all we have today. Thank you for watching. And now to you, Courtney Griffo with Ghostly Forms.
I'm Courtney Griffo with Ghostly Forms. Not exactly. Surprisingly, there are many different ghostly forms that all have different characteristics, from angels to poltergeists. Most people don't realize that angels are included in this group because they usually jump to the conclusion that all ghosts are evil spirits. They usually tend to be bright forms that have wings. On the other side, there are demons, which are dark spirits, and they tend to take terrifying forms. The most photogenic type of ghosts are orbs. Unfortunately, some dust specks can be misinterpreted as orbs, and it can be hard to tell the difference. Usually they are translucent, or they can be round balls of light, as shown in this photo. Shadow ghosts and apparitions usually take the form of men, women, children, and even animals. They tend to be translucent or dark shadowy figures. They are the ones that are associated with the hauntings at old homes, hotels, theaters, and cemeteries.
This ghost story I'm about to interact came from a book called The Vanishing Hitchhiker, written by Jan Harold Brunvin. There are many stories that people have told claiming that they have encountered hitchhiking ghosts who vanish right before their eyes.
I'm gonna slowly go.
Oh my gosh, she's so scary. So where do you need to be?
Blackbird Court.
So is this your stop? I was driving, and at the end of your driveway, I saw a young girl, and I picked her up, and she told me to bring her to Blackbird Court. Do you know anything about this?
What did she look like? This is Blackbird Court.
Well, she had brown hair, and she was wearing all black.
Oh.
And she was kind of young.
That sounds like my sister who never returned home. She's been missing.
Thanks for tuning in with us at Paranormal News. I'm Nicole. And I'm Shauna. Good night, and stay classy, Bradenton.